What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mind Something. If you're new here, my name is Jake, and in today's video we're going to take a look at a new coin called MVC Global. Also, YouTube appoints a Web3 friendly executive as the new CEO. Also, the RTX 4070 could have 3 different memory configurations. We're going to take a look at that, as well as CNBC grilling the Fed on its strategy. And then lastly, how much profit I've made since the merge spec mining on GPUs. So before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market. So the time of recording right now is about 7:30 p.m. on February 19th, 2023. Bitcoin is coming in at 24,000, Ethereum at $1,660. And we've got XRP at 38 cents, Cardano at 39 cents, Polygon at $1.45. Solana at $24.57, Polkadot at $7.33, and let's see, let's just go ahead and jump into the GPU mineable coins, or mineable coins I should say. So we've got Dogecoin at 8.6 cents, Ethereum Classic at $22, Monero at $162, Conflux at 21 cents, currently up about 300% over the last 7 days. And we've got ETH POW at $3.87, Ravencoin at 3 cents, Chia at $43.33, Kadena $1.23, Flux at 85 cents, Caspa at 0.007767. It's had a pretty good week, up about 20%. Ergo is sitting at $1.75, Cortex at 29 cents, Darrow at $4.43. Nexa has had a pretty good week also, up almost 30% for the week, but pulled back about 5% over the last 24 hours. Currently sitting at 0.00001523. Neoxa is 0.0009348. Dynex has pulled back almost 18% in the last 24 hours, currently sitting at 0.088. Radiant is up about 5% for the last 24 hours, sitting at 0.0005106. Lithium is about 1% up on the day at 0.086. And Meowcoin is pretty much sideways for the last 24 hours, but down about 12% for the week. Let's go ahead and take a look at emissions over the last 24 hours. So Chia looking really good at 430,000, Caspa up to 177,000, and we got Confluxes up to 86, almost 87,000, Monero at 67,000, Ergo at 65,000, we've got Flux at almost 40,000, Dynex at 21,000, and Cortex at almost 14,000, Darrow at about 12,500. Let's go ahead and take a look at profitability on a 3070 at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Right now, Nexa is on top at 17 cents. And we've got Conflux at 15 cents. Dual mining Ergo and Caspa at 14 cents. And then we've got Nice Hash Conflux at 8 cents. Cortex at 6 cents. And Firo at 5 cents. It's interesting to see 3 of these coins that were probably not really given the time of day around the time of the merge. Conflux, Cortex, and Firo have all been around for a while, but interesting to see them back in profitability. And then we've got Caspa at 4 cents, Lithium at 3 cents, Dynex at 3 cents, Ergo at 3 cents, Radiant also at 3 cents, ETH POW and Lithium at 2 cents, Ergo Nice Hash at 2 cents, Ergo Caspa at 1 cent, Ravencoin at break even, Eternity at -1 cent, Vertcoin at -3 cents, Beam -5 cents, Callisto -5 cents, ETH POW -6 cents, Neoxa at -7 cents, Meowcoin at -8 cents, Flux on Nice Hash -9 cents, dual mining ETH POW and Caspa -9 cents, ETH Classic -9 cents, and Flux -11 cents, followed by Proof of Memes at -11 cents. Let's go ahead and jump into ASIC miner profitability. The D9 sitting on top at $27 a day in profit, followed by the K7 at $22.94, and the KA3 is still in third place at $21.97. K7 at $20.95, the L7 at $17.30. Scroll down a little ways so that you guys can see the rest. Antminer S9 XP Hybrid at $6.97. Jasminer at $4.81, starting to climb up there. The BMK3 at $4.54. What else we got? So yeah, I'll give you a moment to kind of look over the rest of these, and then we'll move on. So one thing I noticed, Viper Pool has added an auto latency check. So if you just simply go to viper.net, select whatever coin you want to mine, and then select show connection details, you're going to see your latency displayed on the far right hand corner here, which is pretty cool. You don't have to worry about doing a ping test yourself. It's nice, it's built right in there. And then also the contest winner, congratulations to Max R for 3 days of my entire farm's hash rate. And we are currently solo mining together Nexa on Viper Pool. And I believe neither one of us had hit a block within about 5 days or so, but shortly after combining forces, congratulations to Max, he did hit a block, and within, I think probably within a couple of hours of us solo mining together, and it was in fact one of his rigs that hit that block, so congratulations, Max. So let's go ahead and get into this new coin MVC. Now, I'm not going to go over everything because there's one glaring detail that I just can't look past, and I haven't done a whole lot of investigation just simply based on this one fact. And I want to point this out to you guys. So the total supply is 21 million. They refer to them as spaces. And then you'll notice proof of work mining percentage is 35%. The other 65% goes to the DAO. And I went ahead and took a look in their Discord. Someone had also asked about the extremely high percentage going to the DAO. And if we click on this image here, it shows 55% for phase 2 after the DAO is established, and 10% for phase 1 before the DAO established. So we're talking about a 10% pre-mine essentially. And you know, I have mixed emotions about how they are planning to approach this. Essentially, this 55% here is going to be dedicated towards attracting development. But it's just way too big of a pill for me to swallow. I'm not going to be touching this one, and for that reason, I give it a thumbs down, and I'm not going to investigate really any further. I just thought I would give you guys a heads up. Now, that could work out in their favor as far as attracting devs to this space, but you know, as far as being a miner, it doesn't seem very attractive to me, but I digress. Let's move on. So I saw this article on Tom's Hardware earlier today. Gigabyte lists RTX 4070 with different memory configs. So Gigabyte now lists as many as 6 different RTX 4070 graphics cards models with various memory configurations on its Thai language website, according to Video Cards. NVIDIA is rumored to formally announce its GeForce RTX 4070 in April, so Gigabyte's listing may be placeholders or even typos, since actual specifications on the product may not be finalized. A Gigabyte game bundle giveaway in Thai language now reportedly lists GeForce RTX 4070 with 10 gig, 12 gig, and 16 gig of GDDR6X memory, including GeForce RTX 4070 Aorus Master 12 gig, then the Eagle at 12 gig, and the Gaming OC at 10 gig, and then the another Gaming OC with 12 gig, and another Gaming OC with 16 gig. We logged into Gigabyte's Thai website but couldn't find this giveaway, but presumably it exists as a user shared it with the staff at Video Cards. NVIDIA's vanilla GeForce RTX 4070 is expected to be based on the AD104 graphics processor with 5,888 CUDA cores, operating at 1920 megahertz to 2475 megahertz, as well as 192-bit memory bus. Given that the board has to use 16 gigabytes or 2 gigs of GDDR6X memory chips, the only configurations possible on a 192-bit memory interface are 12 gig using 6 ICs and 24 gig using 12 ICs. So for 10 gigabit, an AD104 based product would have to go down to a 160-bit memory interface, which is possible, but which will lower memory bandwidth. Meanwhile, the AD104 physically does not have a 256-bit memory interface to support a 16 gigabit or gigabyte configuration without using an extravagant memory organization. For now, it looks like Gigabyte listed different versions of the RTX 4070 because NVIDIA either considers or considered various configurations of GeForce RTX 4070 products, including a 10 gig and 12 gig version. Meanwhile, it is impossible for the AD104 based product to support 16 gigabytes of memory with its 192-bit memory interface without using a fancy memory organization and possibly repeating the GeForce RTX 970 4 gig fiasco, at least based on what we know about the AD104. While all GeForce RTX 4070 boards with different memory configs might join the ranks of some of the best graphics cards available, it looks like only the 12 gig version will make it to the market. Still, we will have to wait until later this year, possibly April, to find out. So, perhaps they launch with a 12 gig version. I would assume that is the case. But if you look at some of the things that NVIDIA has done in the past, we have the larger version of the 3080. We've seen a couple of different variations of the 3060 as well as the 3060 Ti, and them changing from GDDR6 to GDDR6X. So perhaps there is going to be different memory configurations, but if I were to guess, I would say it's going to launch with the 12 gig version, but we should find out in April. So anyways, moving on, the next thing I wanted to cover was something that I saw on Twitter from Unusual Whales. So this was an interesting exchange between hosts of CNBC and Kashkari, who is he's one of the Fed guys. I can't remember what state he's in, but let's just take a listen to this particular exchange between them.
It boils down to this. What if you're wrong?
Sorry, let me turn down my volume on my headphones here, guys.
You've had, by the way, a recent history, not you guys. You two, of being wrong. You were all on team transitory, and it turned out to be not quite so much transitory, even though some of it may be transitory. And now you're all like, inflation's not coming down. We need to go to 5, come hell or high water, pretty much. What have you guys changed about how you do your business such that now I can believe, oh, you got it right this time? Well, give me some confidence here, because there's a lot of reason not to have confidence.
I would say I learned over the past year or two that our models that we use to rely on forecasting inflation really failed in understanding the dynamics of reopening from the pandemic. And then that just told me we have a job to do. We know that raising rates can put a lid on inflation. We need to raise rates aggressively to put a ceiling on inflation, then let monetary policy work its way through the economy, and we can always back off. So we're having to let inflation guide policy rather than our models guide policy. And that's challenging. It's challenging because there are lags that you're well aware of. But the most important thing that people should take away from this is we're totally committed to getting inflation back down to 2%. Not 2.5, not 3, get it back down to 2%. And we're going to get that done. Now, is it going to take 2 years? Is it going to take a little longer? I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to get it done.
But are you nimble? We asked a question on our Fed survey that said, is the Fed data dependent, or are they going to 5 no matter what? And it was pretty much divided. A lot of people think that you're not really watching the data, that you're headed to 5 no matter what, which is kind of like saying, we're driving the car again into a brick wall, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, look at the job report that we've just been talking about. I mean, these are things that we pay a lot of attention to. We pay a lot of attention to short-term moves in inflation, to services inflation, all of this, and we're pretty close to 5 now. It's not like you're not like saying, oh, come hell or high water, we're going to 10. We're at this point, we're debating.
You shouldn't have
about
said that.
All right. A few more data points.
Neil,
exactly.
Neil, can I ask one more thing? So let's say that we have permanently higher oil prices for whatever reason, because it's, we're transitioning away from fossil fuels. You got Ukraine, you got China reopening. So you got, let's say, permanently higher oil prices, which filter through to a permanently higher inflation rate, most likely. So you're going to force 2% on us. That's no matter, come hell or high water, the only way to deal with oil prices is to hurt demand, is to slow demand in the global economy. So we just have to assume we're going to, we got to grow slower. Oil prices are so much. The only way we can bring prices down is the demand side. That just seems like a bad way to approach things, to permanently accept lower economic activity just to keep inflation low, because you can't control oil prices with supply. Or do you try to address the supply side?
Well, the monetary policy is not going to determine what the output is. I mean, if we said, after we get through this inflation period, if we all came together with Congress and said, hey, the target should be 3%, that's not really going to change anything. The size of the economy, the output of the economy, it's going to be smaller if the inputs end up just costing a lot more. We can end up achieving whatever our inflation target is by just running monetary policy slightly differently. I don't actually think that would have the damaging effect that you're talking about.
So a couple of things that I wanted to point out about this exchange. The first one is the Fed is literally telling you we are not in control. Inflation is in control of dictating policy. In other words, they're reacting to inflation. They're not being proactive. The other thing is he completely avoids the money printing being a factor at all and blames everything on COVID, which is completely asinine. When you print 40% of all of the money in circulation, what do you expect to happen? I mean, obviously that's going to have an effect, but the fact that they just glaze right over that like it's a nothing burger is absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing is I don't want to say that the Fed is completely reactionary to where inflation is going and letting it dictate policy. If you don't think that these guys knew exactly what would happen when they decided to print 40% of all of the money in circulation within a very short amount of time, then you're completely misguided, because they did know the effects that it would have, and they know the game plan. They're sticking to it. They're driving a narrative. Now, an average person doesn't understand these types of things, and that's why it's important to pay attention and to educate yourself so that you can stay ahead of the market in the situation. And the last thing that I want to point out from this particular exchange is the fact that they're telegraphing to you that they're going to get inflation down to 2% come hell or high water. And what that means is they're not going to pivot anytime in the near future. I think that the markets, and especially the squawk boxes here, they want to put pressure on the Fed to pivot because they're tired of seeing their portfolios taking such massive hits. But the whole situation is completely asinine, and to watch it play out in real time is very fascinating to see, each of these different perspectives and the narratives that they're trying to push. But I just want to caution you guys, I know there's some other YouTubers out there that I follow that are also trading stocks. I pulled everything out back in, what was it, the end of 2021, or excuse me, no, I pulled out back in 2020, and I've had a few friends that pulled out around 2021. Now, seeing the canary in the coal mine in retrospect, I probably should have sold all of my crypto and all of my graphics cards in November of 2021. And the canary in the coal mine moment for me was when the Fed finally said that they're no longer going to allow federal employees to trade in the stock market. And, what an opportune time for them to make that rule and to pull all of their stuff out, right? And leave you holding the bags as well as me. But let's move on. So I saw this article that I wanted to cover with you guys in regards to YouTube appointing a Web3 friendly executive as the new CEO. Now, I don't know if I would go so far as to call this person Web3 friendly, but let's get into the article and hear what they have to say. So Google-owned YouTube has appointed Web3 friendly executive Neil Mohan as its new CEO following the departure of Susan Wojcicki this week. Wojcicki stepped down from YouTube on February 16th after 9 years at the helm, outlining plans to start a new chapter focused on family, health, and personal projects. During her tenure, she oversaw the pivotal introduction of the revenue-sharing model, among other things. Moving forward, she will remain an advisor for Google's parent company, Alphabet. Before becoming the new CEO, Mohan served as YouTube's chief product officer and oversaw the controversial removal of the video dislike button, the introduction of YouTube Shorts to compete with TikTok, and YouTube Music. In terms of Web3, Mohan outlined tentative plans in February of 2022 to integrate a host of new features such as Metaverse-based content experiences and content tokenization via non-fungible tokens, much to the dismay of the NFT-hating community at the time. In particular, Mohan emphasized that NFTs could provide a new way for creators to engage with their audience and develop additional revenue streams. He cited the potential for creators to tokenize their videos, photos, art, and experiences as examples. Web3 also opens up new opportunities for creators. We believe new technologies like blockchain and NFTs can allow creators to build deeper relationships with their fans. Together, they'll be able to collaborate on new projects and make money in ways not previously possible, he wrote in a blog post on February 10th, 2022. Despite being intended to potentially roll out last year, the Web3 related plans are yet to materialize, but could be set for another push in the near future, given that Mohan is now leading the firm. Following the news, Mohan becoming the new CEO of YouTube, there has been a surprisingly limited amount of FUD from the feisty NFT skeptics on Twitter, who are usually quick to flame anything to do with reports of mainstream connections to the tech. But I don't know. It's hard to say that anything goes in the right direction these days. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Being a content creator myself, I'm interested to see the pros and cons of this particular change as the new executive takes over as CEO. So, the moment you've probably all been waiting for, I'm going to move on to showing you guys my profitability since the merge on spec mining with GPUs only. So, let's take a look at my spreadsheet here. So the coins that I have mined since the merge are Caspa, Nexa, Radiant, Dynex, Ergo, Flux, and Zill. And this is how much of each of the coins that I have mined. As you can see, I'm very heavy on Caspa, Nexa, and Radiant. And this was the this was the price at the time that I made this spreadsheet. Now that's going to fluctuate depending on the time that you're watching this video, of course. But as you can see, we've got 1,600 in Caspa in USD value, 1,900 in Nexa, 282 in Radiant, $12.89 in Dynex, 348 in Ergo, 360 in Flux, and $2.72 in Zill. And then we have my electric usage and cost. Now, September 12th, I think, or September 15th roughly was the merge. So my actual kilowatt usage is roughly about half, because we're only going from half of that month. And then same thing in February. Today is the 19th, so we don't have a full month's usage there. And then as far as the price per kilowatt hour, really my price per kilowatt hour with my net meter is 8.1 cents. However, there is a current charge, something called the PCRF, which is basically a charge for the price of natural gas, which fluctuates, but currently that's about 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So combined, we're looking at 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So here we have September, October, November, December, January, and most of February. And if we take this column, add it up together, that's $4,551.51 in revenue, and my total power cost was just over $1,000, which means I have currently profited $3,544. And bear in mind, I'm not selling any of this, I'm hodling, and this is subject to change as time passes, but I'm hoping that it becomes much more later on down the road when we get closer to the next bull run. Now, I do have solar, and so these numbers are based strictly off of my usage at the meter. This does not include, or excuse me, I guess it would include what I generated from solar, but this is how much I've generated in solar. So you would add this number to this number in order to get my total kilowatt usage mining. However, this was technically free. Or I guess I shouldn't say free. That's going to have to go towards my return on investment, which will take me about 2.5 years to break even on that solar investment. But pretty impressive to see 3 times or 3.5 times the profit of what I've spent in power. Now, I think most people probably would not have expected that, and I don't know if I would have expected that either until I actually put this spreadsheet together. But it makes me feel really confident that I made the right decision to continue mining after the merge. Now, if you're on Reddit, specifically in the Ether mining Reddit subgroup, it's extremely toxic there. I have seen countless posts where people have just berated anybody asking what the profitability is on a specific coin or a specific GPU. And I think the majority of people there just abandon GPU mining and are there just to troll other people. But I think it's kind of comical that for those of you who stuck around, you're probably doing pretty dang good. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you appreciate it. If you would, do me a favor, hit that like. And if this is the type of content that you enjoy, do me a favor. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next one.